Fans, I'm Erika Leigh, and I've got your New England sports news for Thursday, April 12th, 2012. Tomorrow afternoon, the Red Sox will host their first game of Fenway Park's 100th anniversary season when they take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The festivities are all in order for tomorrow afternoon's ceremonies, where James Orant will conduct members of the Boston Pops, as well as the Tanglewood Festival Chorus in a performance of the Star-Spangled Banner. A giant American flag will once again be draped over the Green Monster, and the Green Mountain Boys of Vermont will fly over Fenway in their F-16 jets following the national anthem. As part of the 100th anniversary, Fenway will start housing historic photographs and memorabilia, keeping the theme of the historic ballpark as a living museum. The new items will be featured in a special 100th anniversary version of the Fenway Park Tours, which will start on Saturday morning. The actual 100th anniversary celebration won't take place until a week from tomorrow on April 20th, which is the actual 100-year anniversary of the first Major League Baseball game that was played at Fenway back in 1912. The opening day ceremonies kick off tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. and the Red Sox and Rays play ball at 2:05 p.m. And part of the excitement for opening day at Fenway, in conjunction with the Jimmy Fund, the Red Sox want you to rally against cancer and dress for Sox success. This year's Rally Against Cancer has already raised over $300,000, and you can continue donating until 3 p.m. tomorrow. The winning teams will be announced on April 20th, and if you haven't already joined a team, you can always donate as a free agent. Don't forget to wear your Red Sox apparel and dress for success tomorrow. But the biggest question lingering about opening day tomorrow is, how will Josh Beckett pitch? After a less than stellar outing in Toronto last week and his large part in the end-of-season collapse last year that the Red Sox faced, fans are not particularly excited about having Beckett back at Fenway tomorrow, and hopefully he's ready to face it. The bigger question is, however, if Beckett can hold it together, who will be most effective to relieve, and who will be most effective to close the game, and can the Sox put up enough runs to win? Last week when Beckett failed the bullpen, the Sox were unable to get anything going on the offensive either. Only time will tell when the starting lineup comes out tomorrow morning. And I'm particularly excited about my next story because the Boston Bruins were just able to pull out their first win in defense of the Stanley Cup. The Bruins played 3 scoreless periods that went into overtime, and Chris Kelly scored the winning shot. The Bees topped the Caps 1-0. The next game is on Saturday afternoon at the TD Garden. The Bruins will take on the Capitals again before they head down to Washington to play the 3rd game in the series. And speaking of the Stanley Cup, the Bees were the last team to drink from it after securing their first championship in almost 40 years last June. But this season, you don't even have to be a professional hockey player to get your hands on it. The NHL has erected a 660-pound replica of the Stanley Cup, which is currently being housed in New York City's Times Square. If you're lucky enough to live here like I do, you can head over to the Stanley Cup tomorrow before it moves and take a drink from it, since it serves as a working water fountain. And over in football, the New England Patriots have scheduled their first organized workouts of the offseason for next week, but don't expect Wes Welker to show up just yet. A fan favorite, Welker doesn't stand to make any financial gain by showing up for the voluntary workouts at Gillette Stadium, since he has yet to sign his franchise tender and because it may hinder his leverage against reaching a long-term deal with the team. Owner Robert Kraft told the media a few weeks ago that the franchise loves everything that Welker represents and that he's looking forward to working on a long-term deal with him. So what's the problem? Since the two sides aren't making much progress, it makes sense that Welker would try to find any sort of leverage he can. By signing his tender and reporting to Gillette next week, the Patriots might be a little less anxious to lock in a deal for an additional 2 or 3 years with him. Pats tight end Rob Gronkowski's run for the Madden NFL 2013 cover has ended. Yesterday he was edged out by Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson with 63% of the vote. Johnson will now take on Packers QB Aaron Rodgers in the next round, which ends next Wednesday, April 18th. I think it's safe to say, however, that fans would love to see the videos of random objects getting Gronk to keep coming during the off-season. And the Celtics came up with another impressive win led by Rajon Rondo last night, who nailed his 6th triple-double of the season, putting up 20 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds in the game, but it wasn't for his lack of effort. Coach Doc Rivers says that every time he tried to sub for Rondo, Rondo would negotiate with him to stay in the game. And Michael Petrus, or Air France as his fans affectionately call him, returned after 2 weeks hiatus following a concussion. Petrus put up 8 points and 6 rebounds in the game. The Celts edged the Hawks 88-86. One player who wasn't in the game against the Hawks on Wednesday night was Ray Allen, who sat sidelined with a swollen right ankle once again. Allen's condition is said to be day-to-day, and he was expected to play in the game against the Raptors on Friday night, but he didn't travel with the team to Toronto today. Coach Doc Rivers says that he's troubled by the fact that this is the 2nd or 3rd time that Allen's ankle has been swollen again this season. It's expected that Petrus will play once again in his place. The Celtics-Raptors game tips off at 7 p.m. And that's all for your New England sports news for April 12, 2012. From New York City, I'm Erika Leigh. Thanks for watching and have a great night.